हेलो स्टूडेंट्स, वेलकम टू माय चैनल ओमनी ज्ञान। मेरे चैनल ओमनी ज्ञान में आप सब लोगों का फिर से बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। सो एज आई टोल्ड यू दैट आई विल बी अपलोडिंग अ प्लेन वीडियो, सिंपल video explanation of the story The Monkey's Paw. Part 1 of the video I've already uploaded a couple of days back, and today I'm uploading The Monkey's Paw. This is part 2 and the final part. Okay, so I have made 2 parts of this video this time. Okay, part 1 and the final part. Okay, there's no part 2. Part 2 means this is the final part of the story. Okay, this is in the English syllabus for class 10, and I have explained you page by page here. As you all know that I always explain page by page for all of you to, so that it will help you, in writing your objective, attempting to your objective questions and answers, choose the correct answers. Okay, so this is the final part of the story. Okay, part 1 and final part of the story. So anyways, so we have seen that Maurice, in part 1 of the video we have seen that Maurice, he gives the monkey's paw to Mr. White. Though Maurice did not wanted Mr. White to keep the paw, but when Mr. White said that if you are not selling this monkey's paw to anybody and you give it to me, then okay. So finally Maurice gave the monkey's paw to Mr. White, but he warned Mr. White that please use the monkey's paw very sensibly, okay, wisely. Anyways, now you see Maurice goes here. The White family now wishes for their first wish, okay, taking the monkey's paw in their hand. Now you see Herbert, because Mr. White does not know what to wish for, so Herbert suggests that you wish for 200 pounds because we have to pay off the loan for our house also, and the loan amount was 200 pounds. So that was decided. They asked for their first wish, but they waited and waited and waited, but their first wish of 200 pounds was not granted to them. So everybody went to sleep. Both mother, Mrs. White, and Herbert, they joked little with Mr. White and told him that no such things happen in this modern world. Anyways, now let's come to the final part, the next morning. Okay, this is the incident of the next morning. Now the next morning at the breakfast table, the atmosphere in the White family was quite dull and silent. Obviously, you see, the other night's incident, they asked for this 200 pounds, but that was not granted. Okay, and now you see both Mrs. White and Herbert, actually they joked with Mr. White. Okay, but anyways, it was silent, and the monkey's paw was kept on the sideboard with carelessness, because this monkey's paw was totally useless, especially according to Mrs. White, the mother, and Herbert, the son. Actually, this monkey's paw seemed to be useless, and that Mrs. White is of the view that this Maurice has fooled them. इस Maurice जो Maurice है, Maurice ने हमको ठगा है, ये अनाप शनाप बोल के कि ये मंकीज पॉ 3 लोगों को 3 ग्रांट विश ग्रांट करता है, ये सब वो कह के मॉरिस ने हमें जो है फूल बनाया है, स्टूपिड बनाया है, एंड लेट अस नॉट बिलीव. Okay, so it now seemed that it was hard to believe the powers of the paw. Now even at one point of time, even Mr. White also came to understand that no, it is very hard to believe the powers of the paw, that this paw could grant 3 wishes also. It is now hard to believe. But you see, Mrs. White, she was so angry that she blamed all soldiers to be unrealistic. Unrealistic means Mrs. White said that these soldiers, they always tell stories about unrealistic things, okay, fantasy world things that never happens. All right, and she also said that, see, in this modern world, no such magic would work. There would be no device who would grant us 3 wishes. है ना, इस मॉडर्न ज़माने में कौन ऐसा करेगा? And Herbert, you see, he also made fun of his father, saying that the money would drop on Mr. White's head from the sky. तो रात को तो पैसा आया नहीं. At night the money did not come. So Herbert made fun of his father and he said that, oh father, you see, today the money will surely drop on your head from the sky. Okay. Anyways, so Mr. White said that he believed in the paw's magic because of Maurice's description. So Mr. White ने कहा, अरे, it is not my fault. This Maurice only, he described in such a manner. He had such a great storytelling technique. Maurice, okay, he had such a great storytelling technique. He described this monkey's paw, the incident of the monkey's paw, in such a manner that actually I fell for his words and I believed that this monkey's paw, this magic is true. Okay, Herbert then left for his work again. Okay, so Herbert left for his work, and as all of you know that Herbert works in a company, and we'll know the name of the company a little later. So Herbert जो है काम पे चला गया, but जाने से पहले before leaving he again cracks a joke on his father, telling him that if the wish of 200 pounds would be granted, then he should not touch. He means here Mr. White, that he should not touch the money, otherwise both mother and son would disown him. तो इसका मतलब क्या है कि हर्बर्ट told his father that father, I am going to work now, so in my absence, okay, if by chance the wish is granted, then you should not touch the money, otherwise I and mother will disown you. Disown you means we will not consider you as our father and husband, alright, and you will have to leave the house. Okay, so saying this, Herbert went for his work. Just then a postmaster arrived with a tailor's bill. तो एक postmaster आया उसी वक्त, and what did the postmaster bring? It was not any letter, it was a bill, okay, by the tailor. Now Mr. White, you see Mr. White, now Mr. White and Mrs. White are alone in the house, okay, both husband and wife, old husband and wife, old mother and son, they are mother and father, they are alone in the house. And Mr. White now tried to explain his wife that, you see, my hand twisted the moment I had made the wish last night. My hand twisted. Actually, you don't believe that my hand twisted. Actually, my hand twisted, and the monkey's paw fell from the hand. But you don't seem to believe me. But you see, Mrs. White was not listening to Mr. White, her husband. Mrs. White was not paying attention to him. Mrs. White was actually looking at that man who was standing at the gate. Actually, what happened is that 3 times that man opened the gate, closed the gate, opened the gate, closed the gate, opened the gate, closed the gate. Okay, he did it for 3 times. Then finally, the stranger opened the gate and entered. Okay, and then now Mrs. White went to receive him and brought the stranger into the house. Then the stranger sat. They told the stranger that please have a seat. The stranger sat, the visitor sat, and the visitor introduced himself as an employee of Mo and Megin's company. तो visitor ने कहा कि मैं Mo and Megin's company से I'm an employee of Mo and Megin's company. ठीक है, and this is the same company where Herbert also works. तो ये वही कंपनी है जहाँ Herbert भी काम करता है. Please remember the name of the company. Okay, it is Mo and Megin, double G, Mo and Megin's company. This is the same company where Herbert also works. Now Mrs. White suddenly, you know, she was little curious to know if anything had happened to Herbert, because a man from an employee from the same company where Herbert works suddenly drops into their house, suddenly comes to their house. तो मिसेस वाइट और मिस्टर वाइट भी दोनों, यू नो, फादर एंड मदर दोनों थोड़े क्यूरियस हो गए, थोड़े से सरप्राइज्ड हो गए कि हर्बर्ट को कुछ हुआ है क्या, हैज़ एनीथिंग हैपन टू हर्बर्ट. मिस्टर वाइट टोल्ड हर टू काम डाउन एंड नॉट टू जम्प टू एनी कंक्लूजन. तो मिस्टर वाइट ने थोड़ा सा समझाया अपने पत्नी को. ओके, मिस्टर वाइट ट्राइड टू एक्सप्लेन his wife that please calm down and don't jump to any conclusions. कि हम लोग पहले सुन लेते हैं, let us first listen from the stranger, okay, and please don't jump to any conclusions, calm down, okay, he told his wife in this way. The stranger then gave the unfortunate news that Herbert was caught in the machine and he died, he was dead. Herbert ने कहा कि हमारे कंपनी में काम करते करते while working Herbert's body was caught in the machine. Alright, and he died on the spot. His body was crushed. And he died on the spot. Now hearing this, both the white couple became blank and couldn't speak anything. They became completely blank and they now couldn't speak anything. The stranger then continued. Okay, stranger ने कहा कि see, though our company has no liability, okay, if any accident happens with any employee, we don't have any liability towards that employee. Liability मतलब कि अगर कोई किसी एम्प्लॉय का अगर कुछ एक्सीडेंट होता है, if any employee meets with an accident or dies, the company does not take any responsibility. That is the meaning of has no liability. कि हमारे कंपनी जो है वो कोई रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं लेता है, कोई फिनेंशियल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी या कोई दूसरा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, स्पेशली फिनेंशियल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी हमारा कंपनी नहीं लेता है. ओके, there are many companies actually, if any employee dies especially or is or meets with an accident, that company will bear the medical expenses. Alright, or if any employee dies, that company will bear the family expenses. Every month they will send an amount to the family. Okay, but there are many companies who do not take any liability. So he said that we do not have any liability, but still Our company wished to present an amount of compensation as a mark of gratitude towards Herbert's service to the company. अब स्ट्रेंजर ने क्या कहा? स्ट्रेंजर सेड दैट सी मैडम सर आवर कंपनी हैज़ नो लायबिलिटी टूवर्ड्स योर सन, but still because Herbert has worked in our company, because Herbert has given his service to our company, that is why as a mark of gratitude towards his service we want to pay an amount as compensation. हम लोग एक अमाउंट पे करना चाहते हैं एज कंपेंसेशन. मिस्टर वाइट सस्पेक्टेड समथिंग. अब मिस्टर वाइट को कुछ सस्पेक्शन हुआ और इसी सस्पेक्शन की वजह से, बिकॉज ऑफ दिस सस्पेक्शन मिस्टर वाइट आस्क्ड हाउ मच इज द अमाउंट, क्योंकि उनको शक हुआ. एंड आई थिंक स्टूडेंट्स यू आर ऑल्सो अंडरस्टैंडिंग. द स्ट्रेंजर रिप्लाइड 200 pounds. रिमेंबर द कनेक्शन ऑफ 200 pounds. दिस इज द सेम अमाउंट that Mr. White had wished the previous night. उन्होंने जो first wish मांगा था from the monkey's paw, the first wish that they had asked from the monkey's paw was 200 pounds. And see, 200 pounds did not come that time. The wish was not fulfilled immediately, granted immediately. But this wish got granted how? In this manner, you see. This gave so much shock to Mr. and Mrs. White that what happened, you see, Mrs. White gave a loud shout. She also understood that the 200 pounds is connected with the first wish, and Mr. White couldn't say anything and he fell unconscious. बेहोश हो गया Mr. White. Father fell unconscious and mother gave a loud shout. Now it was very hard to bear the loss of their only child, bear the loss of the death of their only child, Herbert. Herbert was the only son, right? The death and burial of Herbert was all over very quickly. The White couple could hardly believe it. ऐसा लग रहा है कि उस दिन ही हर्बर्ट ने जन्म लिया, हर्बर्ट बड़ा हुआ, कितने मज़े किए हम लोगों ने. ओके, बट नाउ यू सी देयर ओनली सन वॉज डेड. एक हफ्ता बीत गया. अ वीक हैड पास्ड नाउ. हर्बर्ट वॉज बरीड ऑल्सो. ओके, one night what happened is that Mr. White was lying asleep while his wife stood near the window looking outside. Okay, suddenly feeling that Mrs. White was not on the bed, Mr. White, okay, he turned and saw Mrs. White standing. So he told her to sleep as it was cold. तो एक रात को one night Mr. White was sleeping actually, and Mrs. White was actually standing at the window. And suddenly Mr. White felt that my wife is not at the bed. So he looked here and there and saw that Mrs. White was standing at the window, and it was very cold also. So Mr. White advised her to come to the bed. Okay, but Mrs. White suddenly shouted, "The monkey's paw!" Something was going inside Mrs. White's head. Mrs. White, मदर के दिमाग में कुछ चल रहा था और मदर जो है सडनली शाउट करता है, "The monkey's paw!" Mr. White felt shocked. अरे, he was confused, puzzled. So at first Mr. White became completely puzzled. अरे, why do you shout like that, monkey's paw? Then Mrs. White reminded her husband that they still have 2 wishes left with them. You see, initially Mrs. White did not believe in the monkey's paw. Now it is this Mrs. White who reminds Mr. White कि हमारे पास 2 और विश बाकी है, क्योंकि एक विश तो हमने मांग लिया है और वो फुलफिल भी हो गया. One wish we have already, the first wish has already been granted. Now we have 2 wishes left with us. Mr. White became more puzzled. So what? Now Mr. White wanted to ask, so what? If we have 2 wishes left also, so what? Now Mrs. White came with the actual thing actually. She told her husband, Mr. White, that I want you to wish that Herbert should come alive. So Mrs. White, the mother, wanted Mr. White to take the monkey's paw in his hand for the second time and go for the second wish. And the second wish is that Herbert should come back alive. Because Mrs. White को यकीन था अगर हमारा पहला विश ग्रांट हो सकता है तो ये दूसरा विश भी ज़रूर ग्रांट होगा. If our first wish can be granted, then our second wish will also be granted. And I believe in the monkey's paw. So you wish that Herbert should come back alive. Now Mr. White got shocked. at this and tried to explain her that it has been 10 days since Herbert's death, right? 10 दिन हो चुका है हर्बर्ट को मरे हुए. And he tried to explain his wife, see, Herbert's body was so badly crushed in the machine that we could hardly recognize the body. And we had to recognize the body from his clothes only. We could not even recognize the body from his face. हम लोगों को जब बुलाया गया डेड बॉडी को आइडेंटिफाई करने के लिए, व्हेन दे वर कॉल्ड टू आइडेंटिफाई द डेड बॉडी, ओके, हम लोगों ने जब डेड बॉडी को देखा तो हमें तो डेड बॉडी का चेहरा इतना खराब तरीके से क्रश हो चुका था. द फेस ऑफ द डेड बॉडी, द डेड सन वाज सो बैडली क्रश्ड दैट दे कुड नॉट रिकॉग्नाइज हर्बर्ट फ्रॉम हिज फेस. दे हैड टू एक्चुअली रिकॉग्नाइज द बॉडी, आइडेंटिफाई द बॉडी फ्रॉम हिज क्लोथ्स. कपड़ों से हमें आइडेंटिफाई करना पड़ा कि हाँ ये हमारा बेटा है. And you think that if Herbert is called from the, and moreover you see Mr. White also told her that Herbert's dead body has become mutilated. वो सड़ चुका है. Mutilated मतलब it has become, जैसे हम लोग जब कोई फल, a fruit, if you keep for more than 1 month, 2 months, what will happen? That fruit will become what? That fruit will get spoiled, right? It will get spoiled, black, it will become soft, right? Bad smell will come out of it. Will you be able to eat that? So the same thing Mr. White tried to explain her wife, Mrs. White, that you see Herbert's dead body, first of all, so his body was crushed in the machine. Secondly, it has been 10 days that the body has been lying under the ground and it has become completely mutilated. The body got spoiled now. It has been lying in the grave for around 10 days. Okay, Mrs. White said that I don't want to listen to anything. I am mother, it is okay for me. If the mutilated body of Herbert also comes, I am a mother, it's okay for me. I will be able to see that mutilated body of Herbert also. Herbert is my son. Mr. White tried to explain that, see, son, daughter, it's okay. I am also a father. I also have emotions. But that does not mean that I will be completely, ignorant to logical things. These are logical things. So now try to understand with reasoning. तुम रीजनिंग के साथ लॉजिक मिला के थोड़ा बुद्धिमानी से समझने की कोशिश क्यों नहीं करते हो? वाई डोंट यू ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड? बट मिसेस वाइट वॉज एडमेंट एंड शी इन फैक्ट शी ऑर्डर्ड मिस्टर वाइट दैट नो, you have to go for the second wish. So Mr. White, ultimately finding no other way, Mr. White took the monkey's paw and wished that Herbert should come back alive. And as it had happened with the first wish, here also with the second wish also, Mr. White's hand got twisted. So twisting Mr. White's hand, the monkey's paw fell on the ground. तो फिर से Mr. White का hand twist हुआ, monkey's paw ज़मीन पे गिर गया. Now little time passed but nothing happened. There was complete silence in the house. The clock was ticking. पूरा टिक 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 चल रहा है, okay, clock, and it's completely silent. Both are eagerly waiting for something to happen, and it will happen. Especially Mrs. White जो है वो बहुत बेकरार थी कि शायद कुछ अभी होगा, कुछ शायद नहीं अभी होगा कुछ. Herbert will come now, okay, because she believed Herbert will come now. If their first wish can be granted, their second wish also will be granted. She was certain about that. Then suddenly there was a knock at the door. Darwaza khatkhataya. There was a knock at the door. Mrs. White was confident that it was surely her son Herbert. Mrs. White became so happy and she was confident that my son Herbert has come. So she ran fast to open the door. Okay, दरवाज़ा खोलने के लिए वो दौड़ी, वो भागी. But वो जो बोल्ट होता है वो एक्चुअली ऊपर लॉक था and Mrs. White was little short-heighted, so she couldn't reach that bolt. So she shouted at Mr. White, "Come here and unlock the bolt. I want to open the door and see my son. My son is outside waiting." And you see the knocking continued continuously. There was knocking at the door. Okay, but Mr. White did not pay attention to her. Mr. White ने कोई attention play नहीं किया. Something was going again. Something was going inside Mr. White's head. Something was going inside Mr. White's head. He did not pay attention to his wife. His wife was ordering him to bring chair, okay, or something that he could stand on, or maybe she was also requesting Mr. White that you come, you are tall enough, you come and you open the bolt. But Mr. White did not pay any attention. Actually, he was looking at for the monkey's paw on the ground. He was looking on the ground for the monkey's paw. वो monkey's paw को ढूंढ रहा था. He was searching for the monkey's paw that fell on the ground. The knocking continued. Okay. Now why was Mr. White looking for the monkey's paw? Mr. White क्यों monkey's paw को ढूंढ रहा था? वो तो जमीन पे गिर गया. How many wishes left now? First wish, 200 pounds. Already over. Second wish was Herbert would come back alive. So Herbert would come back alive. I'm writing in this way. Now you see the third wish is left. And what is the third wish? That we are going to learn. You see, grabbing the monkey's paw in the hand for the last time. So the third wish is left. So grabbing the monkey's paw for the last time, Mr. White made the final wish. Mr. White ने final wish कर दिया. Third and the final wish Mr. White ने कर दिया. Okay. Now Mrs. White became disappointed because Mr. White did not come and open the door. Okay. So Mrs. White she arranged a chair so that she could stand on it and open the bolt. So Mrs. White ने कोई उपाय देखा नहीं जब. When Mrs. White did not see any other option, she brought a chair and so that she could stand on it and open the bolt. Okay. And meanwhile काम तो हो चुका था. Meanwhile the work has been done by Mr. White. His third and the final wish was over. Mr. White had already made the last wish, and with the final wish the knocking stopped. उस थर्ड और फाइनल विश से ये खटखटाना, ये नॉकिंग बंद हो गया. द चेयर वॉज पुल्ड बैक एंड द डोर ओपन नाउ. चेयर को पीछे लिया गया, दरवाज़ा खोल दिया गया, और जब दरवाज़ा खुला देयर वॉज साइलेंस. नोबडी वॉज आउटसाइड. So there was no one outside. Only the street lamps flickered on and off, on and off, on and off. Okay. And it flickered on the quiet and lonely road. क्योंकि उनका घर का सिचुएशन भी बहुत लोनली जगह पे था. Their house was situated in a very outskirts of the city or town, and they did not have many houses nearby. Only 2-3 houses, a couple of houses only were there. So the street was already empty, and with all those things that have happened, meanwhile everything became silent, and Mrs. White stood at the door disappointed. So Mrs. White जो है वो दरवाजे पे खड़ी रही, बिल्कुल disappointed, sad, क्योंकि Herbert आया था. Herbert had come actually. Herbert had come. Herbert left also. Herbert came, knocked the door. Herbert left. Mr. White knew that Herbert, the condition in which Herbert has come, Mrs. White, his wife will not be able to see the physical condition, that very bad physical condition of that live body. I'm sorry, not dead body, of that live body. It was completely spoiled and mutilated. And Mr. White was a very sensible man of reasons. Alright, and as all mothers, you see, all mothers are like that only. Okay. Mrs. White became so adamant that she said that no, I will be able to see my son in any condition. But Mr. White knew that this is not possible. Now you see here, the last wish has not been mentioned in the story, but we know the last wish. What is the last wish? First wish is for 200 pounds. Second wish, bring back Herbert alive. Third wish is take back Herbert to the grave as he was lying dead. That was the third wish. So it is very easy to understand what the third wish could be. The last wish was Herbert's return to the grave. Okay. Now the question is, why did Mr. White take such a bold step? I have explained you already, but let's still go for an analysis here. Okay. See, Mr. White took this bold step because he knew that her wife would not be able to see the mutilated, the spoiled body of Herbert. There are two reasons for this. You see, firstly, Herbert's body was crushed in the machine, so his body was already crushed and they could only recognize from his clothes. This is the first reason. Second reason is that Herbert's dead body was lying buried for 10 days under the ground. So that condition of the body had become mutilated. Skins have all gone, skeletons have come out, alright, or skins could be hanging down. Okay, very a very awkward sight it would be, a very horrible sight it would be, very horrible sight. And that is not possible for any sensitive human being to see that. And Mr. White knew that my wife, Mrs. White, will not be able to see that. Alright. and nobody can live. Say if he would have allowed also Herbert to enter the house, maybe 1 day, 2 days, okay, on the third day Mrs. White would have herself said that no, you send back Herbert's dead body. Why? It's smelling. Okay, no reason would work, no emotion would work at that time. Alright, so this is the analysis. Alright, so I'm sure that you have liked the story, though I have made an animated video also into 3 parts, and I will provide the link in the description box. You can watch that also. Actually, students were asking me to make a very plain explanation for them, so that they would be able to write, attempt to the objective questions and answers, choose the correct answers. That is why I have made, and this is the final part. I have finished it completely. Monkey's Paw I've explained very nicely. Alright, I hope you like the story very well, and please don't forget to comment. Those who actually do not know the story, don't forget to कमेंट हाउ यू लाइक द स्टोरी. आपको कहानी कैसा लगा ये आप मुझे ज़रूर बताइए, ठीक है. एंड फाइनली यू सी सब्सक्राइब टू द चैनल, लाइक एंड शेयर माई वीडियोज़ विद ऑल योर फ्रेंड्स. प्लीज़ इन्वाइट योर फ्रेंड्स. नाउ एज यू नो दैट आई एम अपलोडिंग वीडियोज़ फॉर classes 11 and 12 also, English and additional English. So from 9 to 12 I am uploading English and additional English videos, okay, and more great videos are coming ahead. So please subscribe to the channel. And regarding notes, you can find the notes on my website omnigyan.blogspot.com. The link is there in the description box below. I am also there on Facebook and Instagram. You can go and follow me there also, because I keep sharing links, and whenever I upload any video I always share there also, so that you don't miss any notification, and all the links you'll find in the description box. Okay, so that's all from me for today. Thank you so much for watching the video. With love from Omni Gyan, and all the best to all of you.